Hey Narwhals, I'm your host Luke Narwhal, and welcome back to another weight loss video. Hope you enjoy. Now that I'm a normal BMI, the doc finally told me, you were obese. She never told me, not once in 8 years, that I was obese. She always said very vague things like, are you exercising? And try eating less carbs. She never even showed me a BMI chart or used the words overweight as far as I can remember. And I show up yesterday 40 pounds down and I hear the word for the first time. Oh yes, you were obese. Question mark? Someone in another group pointed this out to me and my mind is still blown. That doctors won't tell patients they are obese because of the possibility of bad reviews. And WTF, it's not a sandwich shop or a shoe store. I am so confused. They are walking a fine line with a lot of people. If they come off too harsh, some people will shut down and won't talk to or trust that doctor, especially about weight. Exactly this. I used to have an ED. I'm well aware that I'm obese and that I want to lose weight healthily. But for patients like me, using the BMI as the primary measure of health is not helpful. While weight loss is important, success has to be measured for me in terms of healthy habits, not the number on the scale. Following the right habits should result in gradual loss of weight, but the weight number itself should not be the primary goal unless I want to revert to my ED. I wish my doctors were as frank as Dr. Now is on my 600-pound life. He doesn't sugarcoat it. He isn't mean, but he isn't nice either. If you were eating like you say you are, you would have lost 80 pounds. You gained weight. Clearly, there's still a problem with your eating. Like hell, you right. I mean, they traded bacon cheeseburgers for chef salads with double dressing. They thought they were doing better, but they need to hear that this is still a bad choice. Many patients won't come back after they're told that they're overweight. There is a legitimate bias by many doctors who don't seem to want to look into any complaints by a patient beyond blaming everything on their weight. I think we've all read the anecdotes about patients who got a diagnosis from another doctor or later for something that was dismissed as being obesity related. There are also patients who refuse to believe that their health problems are related to their obesity or are exacerbated by their weight. There are people looking for quick solutions or a pill to improve things. And of course, there's the messy business of complaints that are both aggravated by extra weight, but which also make weight loss harder. Pain, fatigue, joint issues, etc. I feel for the doctors in these situations. So many people report being afraid to go to the doctor due to being lectured about their weight. So doctors are often put in the situation to let the patient be mindful, but not shame or harp. Each doctor may handle that differently. I actually really appreciated the way my doctor handled it for me. I gained about 30 pounds in a year, putting me in the overweight category. She gently asked how my year was, and mentioned that gaining that much weight quickly wasn't healthy. She then referred me to a nutritionist when I mentioned that I was a bit stuck in how to lose weight. The next year, I had only dropped maybe 5 pounds by that point, but she made such a point to stress how proud she was of me. It made me feel amazing. I have many motivations for losing the rest of the weight, but making my doctor proud is a big one. Years ago, about 5 years after I met my husband, I booked us both medical appointments. We had gained about 50 pounds each, 10 pounds per year, due to our more comfortable lifestyle. I was hoping that a professional medical opinion would help him realize that we needed to look at lifestyle changes. She did sit down with me and discuss how detrimental weight is, and that I needed to take positive steps right now, because as women approach their 40s, excess weight becomes even more hard to manage and difficult to correct. She said nothing of the sort to him, even when he specifically asked about his weight. In fact, she said that they don't even look at obesity in men until they are 40 or 50 years old. I just want to point out, as a nurse who has worked with many obese and bariatric patients, it is considered very tactless to point out someone's weight unless they bring it up. And doing this could damage the professional relationship. If people ask me for advice or information regarding their weight, I'm more than happy to discuss their weight. In general, people are very aware of their obesity and how it affects their health, and will become upset or emotional if a healthcare worker brings it up. Though I do understand where you're coming from, and for many of us, we appreciate brutal honesty. So, I'm a doctor, and you're basically screwed either way. I always tell my patients because they have a right to the facts about their healthcare, and I give options on weight loss, but tell them that the choice is theirs. There are, however, plenty of patients who don't want to be told, or get upset or think that you're wrong, but whatever it is, your doctor's duty is to tell you the truth about your healthcare. I will say, however, that it's very easy to get burned out when you're facing person after person who refuses to accept facts. It's not an excuse, but maybe that's why she didn't tell you. My OBGYN was recently under fire for being too forward about a patient's weight. He was very frank in telling her that she's too heavy to safely carry a child or even have any sort of operation right now. If we're being honest, she is likely one of his largest patients. I get that nobody wants to get crap about their weight because we already know what we look like, and fat phobia is a problem in medicine. Example, illnesses being overlooked because of assumptions that weight is the issue. And perhaps he could have been a little less frank about it, but I'm like, is this not important information for a woman that's trying to conceive? It's his job to make sure that she's able to go through a pregnancy safely. I'm on the doctor's side, to be honest. Anyone who is fat has been told countless times how fat they are. Another person telling you this just makes you irritated and angry and less likely to want to take the healthy steps. What she did was the right approach. Focus on the actions and not on the labels. She asked you caring questions about what actions that you're taking. She told you about the medical condition you had, and I'm sure she gave you the information about the relationship between diet and diabetes. It's not necessarily about the reviews. In my opinion, she was being sensitive and tactful in her behavior. Unfortunately, sometimes people start yelling about how the doctor is fat shaming them or is fat phobic. A few years ago, I mentioned that I was concerned that I was gaining weight. My doctor said it would probably be hard to lose weight because of medication that I was on. I take too, so I didn't even try. I went to an urgent care, and on the discharge, it printed my BMI and said I was overweight. I lost weight on my own, 50 plus pounds. Was last at the doctor at the end of May, and my weight has come down a lot, and I shouldn't lose more, but she seemed to think my diet was fine. I just lost muscle mass, and she suggested I start doing some strength training. Oh my god, lol. I remember when I had a high cholesterol reading. My doctor told me to lose weight, and I, of course, started to protest. He was just like, yeah, I know, we can always go in medicine if it didn't work. No, I just needed someone to tell me to stop eating 2,000 plus calories and making excuses. I told myself eventually, but yeah, sometimes I wish doctors would be more straightforward. I don't know, I feel like this might be because of the problem the other way, specifically for women. Obese women receive abysmal medical care every day because of the combination of overlooking women's pain and blaming everything on the weight. I feel that being told that one is overweight, the specifics of that and the language beyond, isn't very valuable to the discussion. If you're overweight, the health advice is to lose until you're not. The same with obesity. The risks of obesity or the behaviors that usually cause it are diabetes, blood pressure, heart disease, etc., and these can and should be discussed separately. I can understand that's a bit uncomfortable to hear it discussed now retrospectively, in a way that they wouldn't to begin with, and I can't say that this is why they did that, but if I could go to a doctor that would shut up about weight and other things I'm not doing by the book long enough to properly hear my health risks, etc., it would be a godsend. A few years ago, I saw an episode of MASH where Hawkeye told Margaret that she needed to lose 5 pounds. She was outraged in classic comedic fashion, but he meant it completely professionally. I was so surprised because a doctor has never told me so clearly to lose weight, even being 60 pounds overweight and in the obese category. I wish doctors could just be direct and honest with the facts. Obscuring with platitudes and vague suggestions doesn't do anyone any good. Regardless, congrats to you on your weight loss. And that brings us to the end of the video, Narwhals. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please tap subscribe to join our awesome community, the Narwhals, and for more weight loss stories that help you stay on track. And here's our featured Narwhal of the day. Started losing weight April 2019 when I was 220 pounds and size 18. I got serious about exercise and I started eating healthy and intuitively. I drank water instead of other drinks, and after losing 50 pounds, I got a personal trainer. Now I'm down 91 pounds, current weight 129 pounds, and a size 2.